Alright, what's going on everybody? Brian here, and this is my NWA Into the Fire recap video for tonight's event. I was able to watch it. Overall, really good show. If you did not see it, I would recommend checking it out. There were two surprise appearances, plus a whole bunch more. A new champion was crowned, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But overall, I thought it was a really good show. Like I said, it's worth checking out. So let's just get right into the recap. We started off the show with Eli Drake defeating Ken Anderson in the opening match. Pretty good match. They did kind of continue the story a little bit later on in the show when Ken Anderson attacked Eli Drake during a interview segment, putting a steel chair around his head and throat and ramming him into the post, and then giving him a mic check on in the ring on the chair. we heard from both participants in the main event of the NWA World Title match. That was the main event. Nick Aldis and James Storm. That was another segment on this event. Thunder Rosa defeated Tasha Steelz. This was an okay match. It was pretty much dominated by Thunder Rosa, with Tasha Steelz getting some offense in. After that match, Ashley Vox would try to make the save, but she would wind up getting injured and not being able to compete in the tag team match where she was supposed to team with NWA Women's World Champion Allison Kay to take on Melina and Marty Bell. So, but she was taken out by Thunder Rosa. The Question Mark defeated Trevor Murdoch with a little bit of help from Aaron Stevens and a bit of a distraction after Trevor Murdoch threw the Mongrovian flag that somebody was holding outside the ring wearing the Question Mark mask. And basically that is what helped the Question Mark pick up another big victory. I really like the dynamic or the concept of Aaron Stevens and the Question Mark being a team. I like the Question Mark character. I think it's one of the best characters right now or one of the best. I don't want to call it. Probably call it a gimmick in the NWA. So, so that happened. The Rock and Roll Express, the 9-time tag team champions, they picked up a big successful title defense over the Wild Card. It's kind of broke down near the end when the Dawsons, who were in the Wild Card's corner, they started fighting on the outside of the ring with Outlaw Inc., Eddie Kingston and Homicide, who were in the Rock and Roll Express's corner. And that kind of caused a distraction for, I believe it was Royce Isaacs, to get double drop kicked by the Rock and Roll Express. Rock and Roll Express, they still got it even in 2019. If you did not see this match, Ricky Morton, I mean, he still got it. I mean, he delivered a Canadian Destroyer to Thomas Latimer, and I'm like, whoa, really? I'm like, wow, this guy still got it. So, so yeah, the Rock and Roll Express, still the NWA Tag Team Champions. They did announce that their next pay-per-view is going to be January 24th. And we're going to see the return of the NWA Television Championship. And a new champion will be crowned on that particular night. I don't know how they're going to determine who's going to be in that match, if they're going to have a tournament or what have you, but they did announce that that the NWA Television Championship is coming back. So that's a huge thing, a huge announcement for the NWA. Sorry guys if I'm sounding out of breath. I really enjoyed this show tonight. The Allison Kay, the NWA Women's Champion, she was in action, taking on Melina and Marty Bell. Ashley Vox, as I mentioned earlier, was supposed to be her partner, but she was injured by Thunder Rosa earlier in the show. Who would step up to team with her, to team with Allison? None other than ODB, who made a surprise appearance tonight at NWA Into the Fire. They would wind up picking up the victory over Marty Bell and Melina when Allison Kay pinned Marty Bell. Then we move on to the second of the three championship matches. It was Ricky Starks, Aaron Stevens, and Colt Cabana battling it out for the NWA National Championship. This one, in my opinion, Ricky Starks, really impressive in this matchup. I thought this was going to be his match to win, even though I picked Aaron Stevens. Aaron Stevens had the question mark in his corner, and that kind of played dividends for him at the end of this matchup, when he spent the end of the match hiding under a sheet or a blanket or something like that. And while Colt Cabana and Ricky Starks were battling it out, Starks would hit a spear on Cabana. Before that, Cabana got hit with the Mongrovian spike by the question mark when he went for the Superman pin. Then Starks, as I mentioned, would hit the spear, but then would get pulled out by the question mark and held and that allowed Aaron Stevens to pin Cabana to win the NWA National Championship. So, huge title victory, a huge win for Aaron Stevens, becoming your new NWA National Champion. Which brings us to the main event. James Storm challenging Nick Aldis for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. 2 out of 3 falls, 2 referees. First fall would be refereed by Brian Hebner. Second fall would be refereed by Tim Storm. If it ended up in a third fall, it would be the flip of a coin to determine who would be the referee or who would referee that third fall. One of the big questions was earlier in the show, Nick Aldis announced that Camille, his insurance policy, had the night off. She would play an integral part in the first fall. Real quick first fall victory for James Storm. Then the second fall saw Storm going after Aldis, doing everything he could to win the second fall. Aldis would wind up reversing a small package attempt and picking up the second fall in that one. With that, then the third fall, it came down to a flip of a coin where Brian Hebner would end up winning the coin toss. Tim Storm refereed the second fall, and then the third fall. A lot of confusion with the third fall as far as the finish. Pretty good third fall. Both men pulling out all the stops, trying to win that third fall. It would come down to where Storm would hit, or James Storm would hit Nick Aldis with the last call super kick. It would knock Aldis into the corner of the ring. Tim Storm would wind up replacing Brian Hebner after he got taken out. So Aldis would end up super kicked in the corner, getting super kicked into the corner. Then Storm would try to roll up, try to roll up Aldis, but when he got him, he rolled him up, but Aldis would pull uh, the buckle or the covering off the turnbuckle, And when he rolled him up, when Storm rolled him up, that happened. But then when Aldis kicked out, Storm would go face first into the exposed steel. Then Aldis would lock in his submission, and James Storm did not give up. Tim Storm would stop the match because Storm was out, or because James was out, and would award the match to Nick Aldis. So a lot of confusion. Stu Bennett, aka the formerly known as Bad News Barrett, he would he was on commentary with Joe Galley. He would try to make it like Nick Aldis should have been disqualified. I think he intentionally hit the referee, knocking him out, and then exposing the turnbuckle and stuff like that. So a lot of confusion because the bell didn't ring at first, but then the ring announcer would announce that still your NWA World Champion is Nick Aldis. Then after the match, they would help James Storm to the back. Aldis would go with David Mark. I don't remember what the guy's name is that does the interview. David something. I don't. I'm sorry if I don't remember. He would get on the mic and say that this wasn't his ring. This was our ring. This is the NWA ring. This is where we own our craft. He would then say there's no one alive that can beat him for the NWA Championship. And the lights would go out, and you would hear the mysterious whoop whoop of Marty Scurll's music. And Marty Scurll, the villain, would make an appearance tonight at NWA Fire, confronting Nick Aldis. So that was the other huge surprise appearance, as the villain, Marty Scurll, who will be finishing up with Ring of Honor, I believe, tomorrow night for the Final Battle Aftermath Fallout. Looks like he may be going to NWA to go after the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming weeks and months as far as that situation and as far as that whole thing is concerned. But that was pretty much it. Overall, like I said, my thoughts on the show, I thought it was a really good show tonight. I thought it was a really good event. I really enjoyed the main event of this show. I was surprised to see Marty Scurll make an appearance. There had been talk of where he might go after finishing with Ring of Honor. But yeah, I thought the show was great. If you guys did not check it out, I would recommend checking it out and judging for yourself. So with that being said, this has been my NWA Into the Fire recap. If you guys enjoyed this show, for those of you that watched this show, if you guys watched it, let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below. So, as always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.